Okay, I took this review long enough. Anyway, yeah, new haircut aside, hey everyone, this is Retrokid Reviews, doing a quick, I guess whatever is left of a real nerf, review of Resident Evil Death Island. Yes, it's finally one of those times I actually got a physical copy for these movies. Yeah, so yeah. Good news this time around, it's actually pretty good. Going off of what I remembered on my, I guess, two, viewings total. It's a good movie. I know, I think, what was it? I'm already forgetting Resident Evil channel's names. Resident Evil, there we go. They did a quick review. I think they kept it a little spoiler list heavy. I don't think Sphere Hunter did any reviews of it as well, because she mostly sticks to the mainline entries of the franchise. That being said, when is going to be her overview of RE5 before that remake eventually shows up? Just saying out there, Susie, just saying. Speaking of remake stuff, let's talk about the remake cast that showed up. Basically, Claire and Jill this time around. Nicole Tompkins' version of the character is the one I know the most here on the channel, because I did content of her entry as Jill when RE3 Remake was out, when it was new during the pandemic. Go to my editorial there. Now 3 years removed, yeah, I could kind of see her as, like, the go-to Jill for a while. My apologies if I know any, Jill's, previous voice actresses, my bad in advance to them. I would love to see them in mainline entries regardless, whatever 9 shows up. That being said, the plot this time around is basically Jill trying to essentially move on from Resident Evil 5, because for those who remember that game, she didn't have a fun time with Wesker, putting it lightly. I guess if I could find any old boss fights, I'll leave a link up there. Another thing I didn't think I had to talk about was RE6 related lore, because Chris basically name-dropped Piers, a partner character he had during 6 that sacrificed himself. And the reason why Piers got the least lip service post 6 is because it's Resident Evil 6. And yeah, I didn't think it'd be necessary, so I gotta give kudos there to the directors there on that one. For this entry. Another thing that the CG series has been known to do is just, how can we have a new version of Liquor's first chance we get? Honestly, I feel like the CG series has done more with the Liquors than the mainline entries ever could. I think the last time I realistically saw them was in 5. Speaking of, that also being said, a lot of the new designs with this new virus was all over the map. Like, I thought at one point it had, like, pupil eyes with, like, where the brains usually are for those who don't know the series, Lakers are basically, like, the closest thing to, like, I guess, Jurassic Park level raptors, essentially. And, yeah, it's okay. They were a little more amphibian, I guess, however this, new virus was supposed to do. For the bad guy this time around, my apologies to both the character and the voice actor. I don't remember them entirely. However, if you get the Blu-ray, they do have a cute little hype package from the entire voice cast. And yes, for Critical Role fans, no duh, Matt was in the vest doing Leon lines. Another thing with Critical Role fans, they're on, like, vest watch whenever, like, Matt gets a new vest, I guess for their merch or otherwise. Yeah, new vest, new Matt, I guess. I don't know. Speaking of, Leon this time around is pretty much in his best life. The timeline for this, for the new bad guy, they had a flashback of him in Raccoon City during that incident. Apparently, the Raccoon City incident might as well have birthed, like, future villains for, like, the CG movies, for all I know. So for the rest of the movie, it's set in 2015. For those who know your, I guess, timeline as far as, like, the mainline entries, I think there will be about, like, a good 2-3 years before RE7, so before Chris is going full Hound Wolf Squad for the BSAA. And you can definitely tell that both him and Leon have definitely moved on since Vendetta, and turns out the bad guy this time around for this entry found what little survivors of the previous guy from Vendetta and said, hey, I'm going to be helping you out, avenging your dad. You're cool with that? Awesome. And I couldn't remember her name or her character right up until she had, like, one line of bad guy dialogue before fighting Leon. I want to say the last 30 minutes of the movie, so wow, I'm going to need to go into the Resident Evil wiki down below for lore, so I'm going to need that probably next time for final ratings. That being said, the centerpiece of this movie is, like I said, Jill. You definitely get to see the best version of Jill Nicole has done since RE3. I think she really came into her own with this version of the character. Also, much like a few remake actors as far as the RE franchise goes, some of them are streaming. I think that Capostilis, the new Leon Says RE4 remake and 2, obviously. Has their own streaming channel. Nicole obviously has her own streaming channel. I'll leave those down below if you want to check them out. The other reason why I'm pretty sure they're not streaming this week as of this recording, because one, I'm filming this for the weekend. Probably either tomorrow or whenever is going, as of this recording, I will already have my Ahsoka review out, so card there. And yeah, in their case, as back to the voice actors, yeah, they're out in the picket line right now doing their obligation for SAG-AFTRA, so awesome there. So, I'm going to try to keep this brief. If you've seen Vendetta, you kind of see where you're getting with the stunts. I feel like Rebecca got benched again. However, it was kind of necessary because she was mainly the focal character for the bad guy in Vendetta to have some weird, long-lost wife subplot. That was so freaking weird even back then. So, kind of understandable. Also, you got Jen from Time Force basically voicing Rebecca. So, yeah, another thing about Capcom, they have a grand tradition of having Power Rangers actors as their voice actors or more Cap actors. So, good on them. Mostly on the Time Force front, just saying. So, yeah, rating time. Should you see this movie when it was new? I'm reviewing this a couple of weeks after the Blu-ray dropped. That's why it took forever to get it here on the channel. Yeah, if you're a fan of the entries, if you don't want to watch it on the live-action movies or whatever they're going to be doing next live-action-wise, gotta hear Paul wants to executive produce another reboot. Fingers crossed that's bullshit, just saying. I don't know. If you're here for how they handle Jill back into this main timeline, even if it's just in between now 6 and 7, you're in the good pocket. Somehow this franchise pulled basically the nowadays Mandalorian and Filoni-verse Star Wars front of like, hey, let's try to do it in between like the big trilogies and see like how we can flourish from there. And I really feel like Jill should show up in RE9. There were some character designs they had that almost looked, I guess, references to the original game, not the remake. In Jill's case, like having messed up hair, trying to like desaturate or try de-dye any of the blonde that Wesker injected into her, and most of like the I think there was some in-universe explanations to why it's the remake body mold versus everyone else who's a little bit older in this timeline. I think her version of T-Virus and I think her time with Wesker slowed her age a little. That's what a lot of the fan theories are. I'm gonna go with that headcanon as well because it kind of makes sense on I guess longevity front as far as these roles go. Ultimately, for the action and most of the monster fights, it's, again, paint by numbers, basic knockoff, I don't know, T-Virus stuff that you saw in main 2 games. So, it's a good callback to that, if anything. Setting it in Alcatraz, I thought they would do a little more like The Rock kind of vibes. The movie, of course, not the wrestler. And just try to have fun with, like, the whole space of it. But, if you've seen these movies, as far as the CG timeline goes, they kind of like to scale down the survivor front as quickly as possible. So, I don't know. For Jill's introduction back, and for most of the gunplay throughout most of it, it is definitely the most tactical they've been since Vendetta, so that's a good plus as well. And, yeah, I guess my ultimate rating, 7 out of 10. I have an affinity for the series, I have an affinity for these movies, more than I do with the live-action Resident Evil movies, so, again, they all with, video game voice actors who are in the mainline timeline, some now with, being from the remake, class as well. It's a good mix of all 5 of them, and, yes, you do get the hero shot of all of them working together on one half of the monster before the final boss stuff, and it is worth it. I think they hold this shot a little longer than you saw in the marketing for this movie. Speaking of, I think there was more heavy marketing in Japan than here in the West, because I think there was like, I think they were marketing like statue bust of like Chris Leon, and I don't know if on Jill's end as well, and I kind of want to see if that's a thing. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm not going to buy it, obviously. I would love to just, say, hey, go buy it now. If it's here in the West, I'll let you know. And, so yeah, tactical shots aside, and still trying to make this Maverick my Samurai's Edge. Yeah, go to the end cards here to my upcoming Critical Role Episode 70 React. Again, as of this recording, I am watching this Thursday of, so I don't know everything just yet. Shirt here to sub the channel for future Resident Evil content, or possibly that long overdue Halloween idea for, yeah, those live-action movies that I haven't already talked about. If you know, you know. Other hand here to my Ahsoka review, because like I said, I am taping this before my Ahsoka review, so my bad if there's a little bit of overlap for that review as well. So with that all being said, take care, subscribe. This is Retrokid saying, yeah, it's another decent by the numbers, but still average CG Resident Evil movie. Honestly, still worth it. And to Nicole and the cast and everybody, you're great as usual. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like Jill and Leon should do just a solo game on their own, or maybe like a Code Veronica. Also, if Capcom's watching, just already remake Code Veronica. We all want it. You know that, right? Right? Oh.